What if the most magnetic people in the world are not magnetic because of their looks, their money, or some mysterious quality they were born with, but because of specific, learnable psychological behaviors that trigger deep obsession in the human brain? Today, we are going to break down the 7 most powerful psychological tricks that make people unable to stop thinking about you. These are grounded in real behavioral science, real neuroscience, and real human psychology. And by the end of this, you will never see social dynamics the same way again. This is not about manipulation. This is not about becoming someone you are not. The psychology of obsession and attraction is built on deeply human principles. Principles that, when you understand them, reveal why certain people seem to pull everyone toward them effortlessly, while others go completely unnoticed despite their genuine qualities. Understanding the mechanics of human connection is the first step to mastering them. Before we dive in, here is the most important thing to understand about psychological obsession. It is not produced by being perfect. It is not produced by being the most attractive or the most successful person in the room. It is produced by creating specific emotional experiences in the people around you. Experiences so rare and so powerful that the brain begins to associate them with you and seek them out compulsively. That is exactly what these 7 tricks accomplish. The first psychological trick is the strategic use of scarcity, and it is one of the oldest and most consistently validated principles in all of behavioral science. The scarcity principle, documented extensively by psychologist Robert Cialdini in his landmark research on influence, states that human beings automatically assign higher value to things that are rare, limited, or difficult to access. This applies to products, opportunities, experiences, and people. When you are always available, always responsive, always ready to drop everything the moment someone reaches out, you are communicating abundance of yourself. And abundance, psychologically, signals low value. Not because you are less worthy, but because the human brain is wired to assign desire in proportion to perceived rarity. What is everywhere is taken for granted. What is rare is treasured. Creating genuine scarcity around your time and attention does not mean being cold, distant, or deliberately unkind. It means having a life so full, so rich, and so genuinely engaging that your time is actually limited. It means having standards for how you invest your energy. It means not being perpetually available to every request the moment it arrives. When people sense that your attention is earned rather than automatically granted, something profound shifts in how they experience you. They begin to value the moments they do have with you more intensely. They think about you when you are not there. They look forward to your presence. They notice your absence. That shift, from taking your presence for granted to actively desiring it, is the foundation of obsession, and scarcity is what triggers it. The second psychological trick is subtle mirroring, and it operates at a level so deep that the people experiencing it almost never consciously realize what is happening. Mirroring is rooted in the neuroscience of mirror neurons, brain cells that fire both when you perform an action and when you observe someone else performing the same action. They are the biological basis of empathy, and they can be intentionally activated. When you subtly match someone's body language, speech rhythm, energy level, and even vocabulary, their mirror neuron system registers a sense of deep familiarity. Their brain interprets the reflection of their own patterns as evidence of similarity. And psychological research consistently shows that perceived similarity is one of the strongest predictors of liking, trust, and attraction. You feel safe with people who feel like you. You feel drawn to people who speak your language. Multiple studies in behavioral science have confirmed that people who are naturally mirrored during conversation consistently rate the other person as more likable, more intelligent, more trustworthy, and more attractive, without being able to explain why. The effect operates below the level of conscious awareness. It feels like chemistry. It feels like instant connection. But it has a precise neurological explanation. The key to effective mirroring is subtlety. You are not mimicking, you are resonating. Match the pace of someone's speech when they slow down. Lean in when they lean in. Use the same kind of language and energy they bring to the conversation. When done with genuine attentiveness and care, this creates a bond that lingers powerfully long after the conversation is over. People will seek out that feeling of being understood, and they will associate it specifically with you. The third psychological trick is one of the most counterintuitive and least talked about: strategic incompleteness. In the 1920s, psychologist Bluma Zygarnik discovered that the human brain retains unfinished experiences far more powerfully than completed ones. We now call this the Zygarnik effect, and it is one of the most applicable principles in all of social psychology. The human mind is driven by a deep, almost compulsive need for closure. When an experience is left incomplete, when a story does not reach its ending, when a conversation stops at its peak rather than trailing off naturally, the brain keeps running it in the background. It keeps returning to the open loop. It keeps searching for resolution, and the source of that incomplete experience becomes impossible to stop thinking about. You can become the living embodiment of this effect by mastering the art of leaving things open. End conversations at their highest energy points rather than letting them fade out. Share just enough of a story to create genuine curiosity, then allow the listener to wonder how it ends. Let your humor land and then move on before the moment is exhausted. Create moments of anticipation that are not immediately resolved. The most compelling people you have ever met in your life have almost certainly done this, probably without knowing it. They left you wanting more. They gave you a taste and then pulled back. They made you feel like every interaction was the beginning of something, rather than a contained and complete episode. That feeling of always being on the edge of more is one of the most powerful generators of obsessive thinking that psychology has ever identified. The fourth psychological trick is deep, specific validation, and it is rarer than you think. Most people move through their social lives skimming the surface of one another. Conversations stay light. Observations stay general. Compliments stay vague. And because surface-level interaction is the norm, anyone who breaks through it and genuinely sees another person creates an experience that is genuinely extraordinary. Deep validation is not flattery. Flattery is generic. It tells people what they want to hear without requiring that you actually pay attention to who they are. Deep validation is specific. It tells people what you have noticed about them, what you have observed, what strikes you as genuinely remarkable about the particular way they move through the world. It requires real attention, and that attention is itself the gift. When you tell someone not just that they are smart, but that the specific way they approached a problem revealed how they think differently from most people. When you reflect back not just that they are kind, but that you notice the particular moment of consideration they showed when it would have been easy not to, you are doing something most people never experience. You are making them feel truly seen. The neurochemical response to being genuinely seen is extraordinary. The brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, and creates a powerful associative link between that feeling and the person who produced it. Over time, people do not just like the person who made them feel seen, they crave their presence. They seek out opportunities to be around them. They find themselves thinking about them when they are gone. That is the power of deep, specific, genuine validation. The fifth psychological trick is what researchers call strategic vulnerability, and it works through a principle in social psychology known as the pratfall effect. Discovered by psychologist Elliot Aronson, the pratfall effect demonstrated that highly competent people become significantly more likable when they reveal a genuine human flaw or mistake. Perfection, counterintuitively, creates psychological distance. Vulnerability closes it. The reason for this is rooted in how the brain processes trust. Perfect people are not fully believable. When someone presents no weaknesses, no doubts, no moments of uncertainty or failure, the subconscious mind registers a kind of threat, a sense that something is being hidden or performed. But when a person who is clearly capable and grounded reveals a genuine imperfection, the brain relaxes. The armor is down, the threat response dissolves, and connection rushes in to fill the space. Strategic vulnerability is not oversharing. It is not emotional dumping on people who have not offered to hold your experience. It is the careful, intentional choice to reveal real things about yourself, your genuine struggles, your actual doubts, the failures that shaped you, in moments when that honesty will land with the weight it deserves. It is about choosing depth over performance. When you allow someone to see the unpolished version of you, the version that doubts, that has failed, that is still figuring things out, you give them something precious, the experience of being trusted. And when people feel trusted by someone they admire, the emotional response is almost immediate. They do not just like you more, they feel responsible for you, invested in you, connected to you. They start thinking about you in a completely different way, not as an image to admire from a distance, but as a real person they are genuinely attached to. The sixth psychological trick draws directly from one of the most important discoveries in behavioral science, the variable reward schedule. This principle, first identified through B.F. Skinner's research on reinforcement, explains why the unpredictability of reward is far more psychologically compelling than its consistency. And when applied to how you show up in social interactions, it becomes one of the most powerful generators of sustained attention and obsession. Think about the difference between a vending machine and a slot machine. The vending machine delivers a predictable result every time. You put in money, you get a snack. The slot machine delivers unpredictable results. Sometimes you win, sometimes you do not, and you never know which pull will pay off. Behaviorally, the vending machine produces no compulsion whatsoever. The slot machine produces one of the most difficult to break addictions in the world. The only difference is predictability. When your warmth, your humor, your attention, and your enthusiasm are perfectly consistent and completely predictable, people habituate to them. Habituation is the psychological process by which repeated stimuli stop producing a response. You stop noticing things that are always there. You stop appreciating what you can always count on. The most consistent person in someone's life is often the least thought about, because their presence registers as background rather than event. But when you are a full, complex, genuinely varied human being, when your energy reflects your actual inner life, when your moods are real, when you are sometimes deeply warm and sometimes quieter and more internal, people pay attention to you. They tune in. Not because you are unpredictable in a chaotic or unreliable way, but because you are genuinely multidimensional. And multidimensional people are endlessly interesting. They cannot be fully figured out, and the human brain is drawn relentlessly toward the thing it has not yet completely understood. The seventh and most powerful psychological trick is also the simplest to describe and the most difficult to master. Make people feel like the best version of themselves when they are around you. This is the deepest lever in all of human social psychology, deeper than attraction, deeper than admiration, deeper than desire, because it operates at the level of identity itself. Psychological research has consistently shown that people are drawn not simply to those who like them, but to those who reflect back the self they most want to be. When someone makes you feel smarter, funnier, more creative, more courageous, more capable, or more interesting than you feel in most of your other interactions, you do not simply enjoy being around them. You begin to need it. You begin to organize your emotional life around the access to that feeling. This is the secret behind people who seem to generate devotion without effort. They are not necessarily the most conventionally attractive or the most objectively accomplished, but they have an extraordinary gift for making the people around them feel extraordinary. And that gift, unlike beauty or status, does not diminish over time. It compounds. Every interaction deepens the association between that person and the feeling of being one's best self. To practice this, you must first learn to listen at a level most people never reach. Not listening to respond, listening to understand. Listening for what someone is proud of, what they dream about, what they secretly believe about themselves at their best. Then you reflect those things back, not as hollow flattery, but as genuine recognition. You say, in effect, "I see who you are trying to be, and I believe you are already that person." When someone walks away from a conversation with you feeling taller, clearer, more alive, and more themselves than they did before, they will not be able to stop thinking about you. Not because you did something extraordinary in any conventional sense, but because you gave them something most people never receive: the experience of being fully recognized. That experience, repeated across time, is the most authentic and lasting form of obsession that human psychology can produce. Now, here is what makes these 7 tricks genuinely transformative rather than simply interesting. They are not independent. They compound. When you combine scarcity with the Zeigarnik effect, you become the person people cannot stop thinking about. When you pair deep validation with strategic vulnerability, you create the kind of trust and intimacy that most people spend their entire lives searching for. When variable reward meets the experience of becoming one's best self, you produce a connection that feels irreplaceable, because it is. The most magnetic people in the world are not running these 7 strategies consciously in a calculated, mechanical way. They're expressing them naturally because they have done the internal work that makes these behaviors authentic. They have built real lives worth being drawn to. They have developed genuine curiosity about other people. They have made peace with their own imperfection. They have learned to be present in a world that rewards distraction. These tricks are not shortcuts around that work. They are the visible expression of it. Understanding them intellectually is the first step. Embodying them, living them out from a place of genuine self-development and real care for other people, is where the real power lives. That is the level at which they stop being tricks at all and become simply the natural, outward expression of a person who has done the extraordinary work of becoming fully themselves. If this changed the way you understand yourself and the people around you, share it with someone in your life who needs to hear it today. Subscribe for more psychology-driven content that goes beneath the surface of human behavior and gives you real tools for navigating your relationships, your influence, and your inner world. The version of you that people become obsessed with is not a performance. It is the most authentic, most aware, most fully developed version of you that already exists. These 7 tricks are simply the path to letting that person out. See you in the next one.